Here we are, Farmcraft 2023. Woohoo!
We are back. We are back.
We are back. We have some exciting new things to share with you, and we are just going to get right into it. So this is the kickoff stream for Farmcraft 2023. We have planned some fun and exciting new challenges for you all, so we can't wait to share a little bit of those today and more as we unfold over the coming weeks. Welcome, everyone. My name is Claire LeBeau. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for NASEF, and super excited to be sharing the screen with this fabulous team and with all of you around the world. One of the things I love about Farmcraft is that it is global, and it has really opened my eyes to the reality of agriculture practices and farming and climate impacts around the world, as we hear from all different participants. So speaking of around the world, we have with us Niles. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and explain where you're from? You are new to these streams, so let everyone know who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Niles. I'm joining from Thailand. I work for the Office of Agricultural Policy in the U.S. Department of State. Super excited to be here. It's my first time joining the stream, but I have been watching Farmcraft for a while.
Awesome. Niles is demonstrating the reality of joining a call from around the world. So we know we're going to have a little bit of lag.
Yeah.
We are fine with it because the guys joining us from Thailand, we know we're at completely opposite ends of the clock.
Yeah.
So good to have you here with us.
This is our firsthand experience with every time there's one of those news broadcasts and you see the person waiting.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, now.
And
Yeah.
begin. Yes.
Exactly. That's a great
talk about
analogy.
lag. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. So I guess we'll just keep going in order. So Eric, take it away.
Absolutely. So hi, my name is Eric Leitner. I go by River. And I have been project lead or part of the program at Farmcraft since the beginning. So I can't believe we're on season 3 already. And I love seeing how it progresses, the information that keeps coming back from students. And not only the information they're gaining, but the information they're sharing is incredible. So I'm so excited for this season because there's going to be so much more opportunity for students to share. And I feel like we're going to learn so much more because that's the best part for us, right? Is we get to keep learning stuff as we go. I know that Clever Like will tell you all about facultative anaerobes in a minute.
Oh,
So
I
know you love
already.
them.
Oh, how I love them.
We can't waste time this season. We're going right into it. So, of course, super excited to be part of it again. Can't wait to share everything that's coming this season. And since I mentioned facultative anaerobes and Clever Like, I'm going to pass it right to him.
There you go. Hey, everybody. I'm Clever Like. Thanks for joining. Real excited for the 3rd season here. Our specialty is celebrating the fact that kids love to play video games, and we try to dare I say, sneak in the vegetables by making it educational as well as fun. So we want to kind of open up your eyes to new experiences like these international experiences that we're having today. Create a way for you to play and learn and also connect with people around the world. So we're really excited that you're going to be joining us for this season. So
I feel like we can't keep going until you explain facultative anaerobes just quickly for those of you who
please.
Go ahead. This has been a theme every year, and so we just got to get it out right now.
Right. So you talk about like carbon emissions being bad for the environment, right? So there's certain the facultative anaerobes that are living in the soil that breathe air and and emit like carbon dioxide and stuff like that. So if you overwater them, you suffocate them, they can no longer breathe the air, so they'll switch to processing the nitrogen and things like that are around them, and they will excrete something that's much worse for the environment than when they're breathing air. So overwatering causes like a higher emission of dangerous gases for the environment. That's the way I understand it. That's what excited me about it. And that's why you get a big penalty for overwatering in Farmcraft.
All right. I think that actually is the most complete description we've gotten in 3 years. So those of you who are joining now, you have the full scoop. You heard it here. All right. So I think every stream we do, Brian has a challenge to somehow sneak in the phrase faculty of anaerobic. So we'll see how.
You know, he also uses the line "sneak in the vegetables," and never is it more appropriate than on Farmcraft, because we don't sneak it in; they're front and center at Farmcraft.
Right.
I was afraid I would have to assign that as the first task for our participants.
Exactly.
Your pumpkin waggles.
All right. Well, Lynn, you have spoken up. Please introduce yourself and let us know your role on this team.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be for my second season with Farmcraft. Look very ramped up for Farmcraft 2023 from 12 time zones away from Niles, or from 12 hours away from Niles's time. I am delighted to say I am the project manager from the State Department, the U.S. State Department's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs and the Office of American Spaces. And I want to welcome everyone who's interested in Farmcraft. And we're just like really welcoming. We had 69 countries last year. We hope to increase that number this year. And a special shout out to anyone from American Spaces Land that's listening to the call today. And I will turn it over to Claire.
All right, awesome. Well, we are sort of coming into this with some preconceived notions of who knows what, because for us, this is our third year with Farmcraft. But let's go ahead and just give an overview. So I guess, Eric, I'll turn it over to you to explain what is Farmcraft, why are we all here, how do you farm in Minecraft? Are we crazy to think that's possible?
This is where I quote movies and say, why is Farmcraft? Not what is Farmcraft, but why is Farmcraft? No, so Farmcraft has been a program, now this is going on its third season, where the goal of the program is to introduce and familiarize students with modern agricultural processes, technologies, decision-making, and ultimately put them in the role of the expert, of the farmer, who has to make the same decisions, or at least very similar decisions, to what the real-world farmers' decisions have to make. Now, we gamify, of course, sort of all of that. And we turn them into, mini games and challenges and collaborative and cooperative opportunities and learning experiences. So, for example, if you participated in seasons past, you will be familiar with what we call the Seedtron in the game. The Seedtron is not exactly how genetic engineering works, but it's a good representation of it, and it's a decision that modern farmers have to make around what is happening with seeds and the seeds that are available to them. So we want to make those opportunities and those decisions available to students. We want them to reflect on what is reality versus what is in the game. We want them to reflect on what is farming like in the version of the world that we are providing, that they're going to play in, compared to what it is like in sort of your regular vanilla Minecraft, if you will. So they can sort of see why we are putting these things in there, and they can start to reflect. And ultimately, we want them to kind of gain an understanding of where their food comes from and have an interest in it and start exploring it more. And we've seen that, and I know we're going to share some videos from teams around the world, right? We had teams in Japan who visited farms. We had farmers speak to students directly in various parts of the world that were local farmers, so they can literally talk to the farmer where their food on the shelves in their stores perhaps was coming from. And that is what we want to see happen, and that's what this program has been so phenomenal at, is both the student voice and the student opportunity.
Right, absolutely. And we love to hear when educators take what we've created and then go from there and put their own expertise into it, or their own local bent. As Lynn said, we have people participating from more than 60 countries around the world. And so what farming looks like is different in all those places. And so throughout, we're hoping that not only will you create original experiences for your students, but also that you will share those with us. Well, it looks like we might be losing Niles for a second there.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there we go. So with Farmcraft in previous years, I know sometimes what looks like the fun or exciting part to the students, and then they realize, oh, maybe those caterpillars aren't such a good thing after all. Or as Brian said, don't water too much. And so the lessons that you learn, they're really memorable and really fun. So it'll be great when we have a new world coming this year. So we're going to give you a little sneak of the information as far as what we're doing. So why do we have a new world? Because I love the old one still, but what are some new lessons that we're going to explore?
Well, so this is like, we've been so focused on the farming activities and the seeds and preparing them, and how do you deal with the process of farming and growing that food, which is super important. But now we're like, well, where does it go? And how does it get there? And what are the challenges, right? So we present the player with a lot of challenges that are real world stuff. Like, do you want to genetically modify your seeds so they can be robust for your environment, or do you not want to? Well, whatever you choose, you have to live with that decision. Do you want to fertilize with, do you want to use fertilizer or not? Do you want to use pesticides or not? Like, you get to make the decision and live with your decision, and maybe live with the discomfort that exists with whatever decision you take. And that's like hopefully the thing that makes you think like, man, there has to be a better way, and I'm going to figure it out. Like, so we really hope we can make these problem solvers. But yeah, like the challenge this year is like, how does it get to the belly?
And not just that accidental, because we know they've done this in the previous worlds where they were like, oh, I got to sell all this produce, but first I'm going to accidentally eat one. Like, no, not like that to the belly.
I mean, a lot of people don't think about.
We're going to deliver some
how
vegetables.
Go ahead, Niles.
Go ahead, Niles.
No, a lot of people don't think about how you get a tomato to get it into a supermarket. And like, a tomato is a super fragile vegetable or fruit, depending on how you want to define it. But how do you get to the market, and how does a farmer decide to grow that particular variety of tomato? Like, why the beefsteak that you see in the supermarket in the United States versus another tomato you might find in another market? And so it's a really complex challenge. A lot of people don't think about it. How do you avoid food waste? How do you avoid spoilage? And how do you avoid getting your vegetables or fruits crushed when you're getting them to the market?
I live near the Central Valley in California, and tomatoes are a huge crop near us. And sometimes I see these enormous trucks of tomatoes driving down the freeway, and I think, what in the world what does the bottom one taste like from that truck? Is it as good as the one in the middle or the top? So Niles, it's funny that you would bring that up, because I've had that exact thought. Maybe
the bottom one is the best one. You don't know. Maybe there's the 5-star, 4-star restaurants and the chefs are fighting for that bottom tomato. You don't know. We'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah, this is happening during winter time. I was going to say, I'll take a picture of a tomato truck if I can and share it, but we're at the wrong season for having those.
But
anyway, that is part of that's part of what we're going to be looking at this season.
Yeah. Ultimately, we're going to be sort of bookending the growing cycle, right? Which we've been focusing on the growing and harvesting of the crops. How do we decide what to grow? But not who are we growing it for? How do we even decide what it is the market wants? And then, of course, how do we get it to them once we have it? So all those decisions that come even before the ones we originally had, and the ones that come way after the ones we originally had. And of course, the processes and the technology and the methodologies that exist now to do those things.
And a $40 tomato, no matter how good it is, even if it's the bottom one or the middle one or the top one, a $40 tomato is not going to cut it. So the decisions you make along the way all impact your final end result. So that's the interesting thing, is that the decision you make from day one has to reflect like your goal in the future. And then you have to actually live through the farming cycle and the transportation cycle to get it to where you thought it needed to be, 4 months ago or 6 months ago or whatever. And hopefully nothing's changed in the middle, right? And nothing goes wrong in the process. And that's the thing we want to highlight, is how difficult it is to plan and deal with the likelihood of you have something that is perishable and expensive to grow, perishable to deliver, and hopefully the people want it and they're willing to pay the price that it costs for you to make money so you can do it again. Sustainability. Right. So it's a really interesting challenge when you look at that.
Farmers really need to look into the future. They really have to be strategic thinkers, and there's actually a publication, online source called the Farmer's Almanac that farmers use to predict what the seasonal variations will be. But no one can really predict what the weather is going to be. Even the best weather forecasters can't. And so those bad things can happen. So you have to factor them in your thoughts as you plan the game.
Right. Right. So what kind of, is there anything else that you can tell us in advance about this world?
Okay, totally different world. Let's although there will be an element. Okay, so we decided we're going to give you the caterpillars. Like they're a must because
Yeah.
nobody likes
They're
the
iconic
caterpillars.
at this point.
Yeah,
They're
nobody
iconic,
likes the
cleaning them.
caterpillars, and that's why we say, well, you're going to have them. No, because we are going to have a farming cycle in it that's very similar to what you played before in Farmcraft. So if you played Farmcraft before, it'll be familiar. If you haven't, it'll be fun, and you'll learn some new things and kind of join the club of everyone, the Caterpillar Club. But there will be some other what we've visually created what looks like a game board. So the world is different looking. It's got a different aesthetic to it. It does have the similar biomes separated on it, and you will basically be asking people, what kind of food do they need, and then you'll be trying to basically solve a puzzle to decide what it is to generate your seeds that you need to accommodate those people's needs for that local market. And then you will farm them. And then so now it's like, how many seeds did you buy and how much did you run and how much did you go for how much crops did you harvest? Okay, that's what you have to ship. And now how are you going to ship it to the destination? All right, so you pick where you're farming and growing and who you're growing it for, and you have to figure out how to get it to them. And so it's another puzzle type game that you'll play that will decide like how you're shipping things. And just so you know, we sneak in some things in Farmcraft. Like if we say it's important to do this quickly, we may or may not in the background be running a timer to see how efficiently you're doing things. And if we said it's important how quickly it's done, that might influence your score. So everything you've done up to the point of transportation may impact the outcome of whether or not your ship gets stuck at port and all your vegetables rot, whether or not you have to go by plane to get it there faster, and that's more expensive and carries less, so it affects your price. Trains, if there's transportation outages, there's different things. The environment and economic and other external factors affect transportation that may or may not happen to you at varying levels depending on how you've performed and how to get there. And that all comes to with like, how many people do we need to feed? How much food do we get there? How much they have to pay for the food? And how happy are they about your work? And that's kind of the outcome of your gameplay cycle. And then you'll pick a different group to build, to create food for, and then figure out where to farm it and get it to them as well. And you play the cycle of the board that way.
Awesome. So if someone's thinking, why is this a custom world? Why am I not just doing this in Minecraft? You pretty much just explained there is so much detail and so many decisions built into this, and then so many outcomes that vary based on what someone decides. So we're just so fortunate to have your team at Cleverlike and Eric working with you on the development and getting all of the input on what are actual factors in the world today. I know Niles and his team have been giving input on this. So, I mean, it's going to be we know it's going to be fun because everything that you two do is fun. And then to have the quality of learning built in, which of course with your educational backgrounds, that's really important. So we can't wait to see it. We do have a couple seasons for Farmcraft. Eric, do you want to describe that a bit?
Yeah, so we kind of rolled it out in phases. And while we say there are two major phases, there's the preseason and the regular season, there's a phase going on right now, and that is registration. So if you haven't done that, we're going to talk about registration in a little while, but we're going to keep pushing that registration component, because if you haven't done so already, it's definitely not too late. And next time we see you when we're in preseason, guess what? It won't be too late then either, but you don't want to miss the boat on the preseason. So this is the time to get registered. And miss the boat was not a pun. But I'm going to take it as a pun because it's one of our shipping methods in this year's Farmcraft. So you don't want to miss it. So we're going to head over to the NASEF website. I've got it up on the screen right now. And to find this year's Farmcraft information, we're going to go up to the Play tab here at the top. We're going to click on Minecraft Competitions, and this is where we can see all the amazing Minecraft programs that NASEF has got going on. But I love this year's logo, right? Because what are we talking about? We're talking about the transportation of the product this year, right? So Farmcraft 1, we had one little happy cow. Farmcraft 2, we had two little happy cows. And this year we've got a happy cow that is transporting produce. So I love it. It's perfect. In a wheelbarrow, right?
Yeah, you might not be able to sell very much if you're only using a wheelbarrow, but I love
No, you're going to want a better transportation method than that, especially if it's over water, you know. The wheelbarrow is really going to be a struggle. Right. So we're going to click in there. And of course, the first thing you're going to see is that big orange registration button. And if you haven't done so already and you're interested in getting involved, this is where your adult sponsor for your team will click that button and register the teams that they want to sponsor for the event. Now, keep in mind, if you are an adult sponsor for this event, let's say you are a classroom teacher, and we always have so many classroom teachers that participate. If you've got 30 students, let's say in a classroom, and you want to put 3 students on a team each, that's 10 teams. Yes, you can be the adult sponsor for all 10 teams. The only thing you can't do, of course, is have the same player on multiple teams. So yes, you can have multiple teams. Yes, you can be the adult sponsor. Also know that we do this in divisions. So while we do have students ranging 8 to 18, you'll find all of that information, of course, in the team guide, which can be found in the resource links that are all right down here. But since we're specifically talking about the seasons or the phases of Farmcraft, we're going to scroll down to the bottom. And here's where we can find all of that timeline of events. So we would find the registration window, which is where we are right now. And notice there will be an overlap that keeps open all the way through April 7th. But you don't want to miss all the early stuff we're doing. And it will definitely be harder as the season gets later and later to play sort of catch up to make sure your team has done all the components they need to do. So get involved soon. Our live streams, of course, February 2nd, happening right now. We've got all of these happening right now. But these are our preseason ones that are coming up, which will be the 9th, the 23rd, and the 16th. And in our preseason, we give the student the opportunity to share both their current knowledge, or the knowledge they believe they have about agriculture would probably be a better way to put it, because even ourselves, we've learned so much through this process that we thought was true that maybe isn't true. Like about tilling, for example, last season, everyone's like, clearly you till the soil. And then it was like, wait, no. Maybe you don't till the soil. So that was a revelation in and of itself. But we give 3 opportunities for students to kind of explore these topics, to share what they already know, and to share some of their Minecraft skill and knowledge that they already have, to get into the world and just build, play, share ideas, and demonstrate what they already know. And that's what the preseason challenge is all about. From there, we shift, of course, on March 17th into the regular season, and that is when the Farmcraft 3 official world will be delivered to all to explore, and that is when you will take that time to get involved, dig into the world, strategize, and come up with the best ways to top your scores and to come up with the most effective and efficient ways to produce the produce that your clients, that your customers need in order to be successful in the world. And throughout the regular season, we ask students to deliver video diaries about their progress. So we'll ask guiding questions like, what was the best practice, or what did you figure out how to do X, Y, or Z in the world? And we want them to focus on those particular components. Maybe maximize your climate score or maximize your food output. And don't worry about the other things, and see what happens to your world if that's the only thing you focus on. And we give them an opportunity to kind of explore those, right? Like it's okay to break it in those components. We want you to break it because it's a learning opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to make the most money I can, and then sure enough, see what happens around you. Or to say, I'm not going to worry about money or delivering produce. I'm just going to make sure my climate is healthy. Well, okay, but what happens to all these people who need food? We want them to explore all of those opportunities, and that's what we do throughout the regular season. Once the regular season ends, we've got our leaderboard, we take a look, and we do our awards ceremony, which is always a fun one because we do that in a Minecraft world also, so it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So that is our
And you can tell me to slow down at any time, by the way. I get hyped.
The good news is you can always hit pause, go back later, watch this, hit pause.
I mean, watch the rerun.
Catch up, watch the rerun. You can make it slower if you feel like it. You can even make it faster. I can't imagine.
I don't know that I would want to watch me at 0.5 speed. Don't want that.
Right.
The truth
But
is,
we
this
do
team
want
is
it.
pumped.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Exactly. So, how about Flip? It used to be called Flipgrid, and now it's
It
Flip. Do
did
you wanna
used to be
show us where
coined
that is real
Flipgrid.
quick?
That's right.
Yeah.
So right now we're still in that registration mode. But if you're already registered, if you want to get that jump start, I'm going to show you where to go. So if you're on the Farmcraft 2023 page, and of course this will be updated throughout the season with whatever activities we're currently working on. You're going to scroll right down here to the bottom and you'll see all of our resources for educators. You'll see the team guide. I encourage you to not only read it yourselves if you are the adult sponsor, but read through it with the students so they know what the expectations are, they know what the rules are, they know what the deadlines and the dates are. They can put it in their calendars as well. And of course, that way they can stay on top of it because this is something the students should really be taking a leadership sort of active role in participating in as well. We're going to scroll down two, though, and go down two, and you'll see Join Flip Group right here. Now, again, if you joined us in the past, this used to be called Flipgrid. Microsoft has rebranded the product. It is now just called Flip. I'm getting used to that, so I may still say Flipgrid from time to time this year. But if we click into there, you will see the NASEF Farmcraft 2023, and you'll know you're on the right one, of course, if it says 2023 and you see our adorable wheelbarrow cow up here. Right? So that's where you want to be. And of course, you'll see the welcome link. So every time you can join this Flip right now, and then every time we've got a new challenge launched, it will appear here for you, and you'll be ready to participate and submit because you'll see the next challenge pop up on this bar right here.
Perfect. Thanks for that overview. And I don't know that we've mentioned my favorite word yet, but this is free to join. No matter where you are in the world, we welcome you. This is a fantastic educational opportunity for students. Play and learning blended together in probably the best way possible, in my opinion. And so we want to make sure anyone who wants to join can. So it's completely free to join. And if you do not have Minecraft available, NASEF will provide Minecraft for you also. So when you click that orange button that Eric showed, you click on through and you just in the registration process say how many Minecraft Education Edition licenses you need, and we'll get those over to you. You'll be all set up. We have fantastic support for this program through Carolyn Navarro, who we are going to have join us on some streams later on in the season. But Carolyn will handle if you have any issues with, I know sometimes people who participated before need to do things like password resets or that kind of thing. So if you have questions, you can always email info@nasef.org and she will get you taken care of there. So I think that's really the high level of the things that we want to set expectations as far as what the season is going to be. And so now we're going to do something fun, and that is hear from a few participants in Farmcraft before, hopefully give you a little inspiration. So first off, we'll be hearing from Mary Phillips. Mary is an elementary educator in Michigan in the United States. And I had an opportunity last week to see her present at a conference. And I was so impressed with what she said she had her elementary students doing. And I thought, you can teach this to elementary kids, or you can use this in a high school biology class. It really, there's so much here. You can tailor it however you need. So I just love that about it. So I'm going to go ahead and share this video from Mary now.
Greetings from South Haven, Michigan, the blueberry capital of the world. I'm Mary Phillips, and I'm an elementary STEM teacher at North Shore Elementary here in South Haven Public Schools. My students and I have been using Farmcraft for the past 2 years to learn about agriculture and the many decisions the farmers have to make to get the food from their fields to our table. In my summer camps, we've enjoyed creating aquaponics units out of 2-liter bottles with fresh flowers and feeder fish. We've learned about the soil composition of the different regions around our community and how plants are able to produce their own food and get nutrients from their roots to the different places that they need. I hope that you join us for Farmcraft 2023 and you enjoy it as much as my students and I know we will.
Mm-hmm. I love that they did aquaponics. That's so cool. That's what I was saying, how you see teachers take something and then they expand, they do their own, add their own element of creativity. So that's fantastic. So that is a viewpoint from a teacher in the United States and how she has used Farmcraft with her class. And now we're going to get perspective from some students on the other side of the world in Japan.
Farmcraft 農業の方法、例えばどんな後期栽培とか。ああ、なるほどね、世界の気候についてはどう思った？全然農業に向いてない土地があるだなって。なるほどね。切り役割を開けて私がいろいろ考えて指示してそれを完璧に遂行してくれる子だとの組み合わせだったんで。なるほどね。そういう連携プレーがあったってことですね。やりやすかったです。ちゃんと明確な目標があってそれを1、2、3って順番にできたから、私的には考えたりとか。なるほどね。メンタル維持頑張ってください。適度な休憩を取りましょう。頑張れ。頑張れ。Good luck to Farmcraft 2023, everyone. Bye bye.
I love that.
Right.
I love that. From the way they described the teamwork that they had to the different principles they learned. I mean, that is what Farmcraft is all about. So we're excited to have all of you join us. We can't wait to have you on our live streams with us and to see the videos that you create and submit. Next up, our next stream is going to be on February 9th, so just a few days away here. And at that time, we're going to be launching preseason challenge number 1. So tune back in, make sure you're following our YouTube channel, and you'll get the alerts when we're going live. And then, of course, if you are like Niles on the other side of the world and not planning to get up at 3 in the morning, which he did to join us today, you can always watch those videos at another time on YouTube if needed. But thanks for joining us, and we will see you all shortly.